Okay, and share.
Okay, so thank you everyone for attending. We know that everyone's busy and we have this huge festival that's got loads of different events on, and I should be having very kind words with Assaf for booking one at the same time as this one afterwards. Quickly, 3 slides we've been asked to share at every event. If you're going to tweet about what's happening, can you use the My Agile 20 Reflect? We can pick it up everywhere, and it will actually give a nice view of what's really happening and what your opinions are. And if you have really strong opinions and you want to share some of them, please let me know. I'm running a daily roundup for the festival called Agile World, and you can join the video. Next slide. So the festival has been completely run by volunteers. No one gets paid for anything. Everyone ignores my invoices. I don't know why. Anyway, if you want to put some money in, put your hand in your pocket, go to GoFundMe. Whatever you give is appreciated. It doesn't get you anything extra other than the fact that you're helping. You know, we do have costs. We have a bit of costs around websites, but most of that has been borne by Ash and myself because we have the tech, we own it already. Really important, there's a community code of conduct policy. We want the festival to be a safe place and a safe space. If you feel unsafe at any point, please make yourself aware of the policy, access what's local to you in terms of protection, and if you want to report activities that you think are not what they should be in terms of the festival, please let us know. There is an email in the policy. And have a nice time. I'm going to hand it over to, well, no, I'm not going to hand it over. I'm going to explain why we're here. My apologies. So the reason for this meetup is Agile, and it's popular rising, as it were. It's got to the point now where everyone seems to have heard of Agile and everyone is an expert, and we all know that's not true. So has Agile populism actually killed Agile? Has it destroyed what Agile is? And my segue experience would be a very senior executive from a well-known bank saying to me, "Oh, we're doing business Agile, Karl, not technology Agile. You know, you don't need to get involved." And I was literally stunned, although I did start laughing, because, you know, Agile is Agile. You know, the location that you utilize it does change the outputs, but it doesn't change the behaviors. So and that's the real rationale behind this session. I actually went to the speakers directory that we have for people that volunteered, and I just looked up people that are interested in human behavior and mindsets, and both of these gentlemen were sort of top of the list, and I contacted them and they both agreed to do the session. And rather than waffle on anymore, I'm going to hand it over to them. So Joseph, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Karl. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your presence. I'm Joseph Assaf. Initially, I'm an architect graduate, not the IT kind of architecture, but real building architecture design thing. I always explain that in our sector. And then I've graduated with my second master's from IE Madrid with business in architecture and design. And currently I work in Wiesbaden in Germany as an agile coach and consultant. So I've actually merged and blended within my initial industry, which I worked in the construction sector for 6 years. And now it's been like around 2 years I'm working in the agile world. And yeah, Bob, please, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Bob Payne, I'm from DC, and I've been doing Agile since about right at the end of 1999, so a little tiny bit over 21 years. And I'll do a little deeper intro when I kick off my my talk. But I'm glad to see everybody here.
Yeah. So as you can see, guys, our agenda is set like on on two parts. So first of all, we will speak about mindset simulation, a short mindset simulation, plus the 3 factors of affecting Agile, then tackling a little bit the discipline and continuous improvement themes. And after the break, it's an open discussion session. So we're flexible in our calendar. It's a workshop at the end, and it's for you and for us. So we will be having the time to discuss it together. So first thing first, I will share my screen to my Miro board. Everyone can see my Miro board. Yeah, perfect. So I have the short simulation. For that, I will set a timer for 10 minutes. It's the mindset thing. We have the fixed mindset. So stay in the comfort zone, applying what has already been learned. Mr. I know it all. We have the growth mindset, break the comfort zone by focusing on improvement and target achievements. So Mr. I want to learn. And we have the benefit mindset, which is to lead by example and being here for others and focus on human and their needs, Mr. Leader. As you may see, we have 2 sets of cards, green ones and the white ones. I will start with the white. What we will do is that, please, you can open up your mute button so you can unmute yourself. I will read the card, and you would tell me where would you rather see it, as a fixed mindset, as a growth mindset, or as a benefit. So let's start with the first one. If I tell you I know better, that's how it should be, and no discussion.
Fixed. So
yeah. We all agree, right? Come on, guys. We need to energize ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to get out of my comfort zone. I am eager to learn more.
Growth.
Growth.
Growth. Majority with growth. Okay. So we are all human, guys. You can't make anything someone didn't.
Can't make anything someone didn't. Fixed.
Fixed. We all share the same thought as Jonathan. Yeah. So don't reach success rather than seeking value creation.
Benefit.
Benefit. Who says benefit too?
Zoom in again.
Don't reach success rather than seeking value creation. So we all agree on benefit, guys. No.
Come on, someone give me a fight.
Listen, I can't hear you. Yeah.
No, I think it's rather. I would rather think it's growth, because I can't imagine somebody called Mr. Leader not encouraging people for success.
What's that? Do you want me to go downstairs? Do you want to come here, dude?
Jonathan, you have something to share with us. So
my apologies, I don't. Sorry.
Okay, okay.
He has life impeding.
Now, growth or benefit? Or both?
It could be both.
Okay, cool. And I seek feedback and transparency with my client for relentless improvement.
Leader.
Leader. So benefit.
Yeah, benefit, yeah.
It'd also be growth.
I would say growth.
Nice, that's nice. We'll put it again here. And the last one, learn to create your environment and like-minded people will be attracted by it.
Leader.
Leader, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, if I want to unhide this, well, definitely the fixed one are easy. That's right. For the growth one, I want to get out of my comfort zone. That's right. I seek feedback and transparency with my clients for relentless improvement. Actually, yes, it is growth. And don't reach success rather than seeking value creation. It's benefit with learn to create your environment. So now the second step of it.
Before you carry on, can I challenge?
Yes.
Why are some things right and other things wrong?
Okay, it's not about black or white. So, but the idea is that a beneficial mindset is a way of leadership, where you think that you can help other by growing, and not only you as a growth mindset. And growth mindset is to set an objective in order to learn. That's why we have sentenced the Mr. I want to learn.
Okay.
So when I will say I want to get out of my comfort zone, I'm not a leader, but I'm eager to learn. I seek feedback, it's for me also. But here we can notice, don't reach success rather than seeking value creation. It's like an advice. It's like something to help others. Learn to create your environment, and like-minded people will be attracted by it. Again, guys, it's just a way to settle the mindset thing. How many of you have encountered such people in your job? Definitely a lot. Like you have employees or friends even like with a fixed mindset. Track. Karl, with both hands. You have people that seek knowledge, and it's not right or wrong, it's type of people. And you have people who are charismatic and are leaders, like to help others. Maybe they feel growth by helping others. It depends. Now, the second step of it is these narrations. So here you see it's A for action. For the green one, it's N for narration. So I would put a scenario, and it's up to anyone who would like to share with us what he would do. So first one, what would your reaction be if your teammate doesn't want to learn something new? It's up to anyone, guys. Who would like to answer briefly? So you have a team, and one of your teammates doesn't want to learn something new. He's happy where he is.
Can we fire them?
Sorry.
Well, my first question would be why?
Okay.
I already
And then
had,
I would listen for their reasons.
I already had this experience with a colleague of mine.
How did you react?
Oh, I tried to convince him that everyone can learn and experience new things, but it wasn't for him. So I actually let him be.
Okay. Did you ask him why? Like our friends now ask, like, did you had the idea to ask him why you don't want to learn?
Yes, of course. I try to see what was his point of view and why does it have fear, or he doesn't know if he has the skills, or I tried, but he wasn't
okay. So Osama, where do you put yourself based on your reaction in this mindset? You've been fixed, you've been growth towards that problem, or you've been a leader, a kind of a leader towards your teammate?
Oh,
there's no right or wrong. It's just up to you. Yeah.
It's just personal, but I will put myself in between.
Between the three?
Yes.
Okay.
In between the growth and benefit.
Okay.
Because you cannot, even if you are a leader of.
Yeah.
Sometimes you must let people experience by themselves, and
cool.
And if they don't want to do that, so
okay,
let them be.
Cool. Now, arbitrary, I will pick another one. What would the reaction be if your friend's employer keeps on motivating his team and yours not? So this time the employer, you see your friend, he works at a firm. The employer, the manager is keep on motivating. He's a true leader, and you have a boss, unfortunately. What would you do? Anyone?
I would jump ships.
You would what?
I would jump ships.
Okay. Just continue, elaborate more, please.
I would switch the team. I will do my best not to stay with the employer who clearly doesn't see the point in motivating the team. Not necessarily trying to enter my friend's job, because it might be in a completely different field.
Yeah.
But I would probably be looking for something else. But don't listen to me. I've been a freelancer all my life, so
yeah.
Technically, I've never
keeps motivation.
Yeah, well, I can say then it's more or less like a growth mindset for you. Because if it was a benefit, maybe you would seek to reach your senior, your manager, and ask him why are you like that. Yeah.
It sounds like pure egoism.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, nice. Let's pick also another one, the last one. So someone who didn't participate yet. What would your reaction be if you felt motivated and happy? So now I'm at a workplace. I'm with you guys in this workshop. I'm so happy. The word is not fitting me anymore. So how would my reaction be at my workspace with my teammates? How would you describe it, guys? Anyone? No?
Because you're happy and motivated, you could be in a growth scenario. You know, you could put yourself, because you're happy and motivated, you then could feel empowered and start.
Yeah.
To,
well, I think,
you know, be in a growth mindset. But
yeah. I'm not sure I've heard you right, because the cam stopped. Your connection was weak a little bit, but I heard that it's a growth because you're happy. But yeah, if I want to share my experience, like if I want to say I'm a benefit, I could say that, yeah, because I'm happy, I tend to reach to help others in the team and seek to push them more and to spread that positive vibe. A growth one is right, like as you have said. And this narration also could be a fixed mindset. I could say, yeah, I'm happy. I don't care about others in my team. I'm happy as I am. I will keep my own focus for me, and I don't give a damn about others. Well, yeah, that was just a small icebreaker interaction with you guys before tackling the presentation again. So share my screen. For that, I will stand up because I don't like to sit. Yeah. So now, guys, what we have started with was about mindsets. And today we are speaking about Agile Populism. And you have Agile and you have people. So you need to understand people, to understand what are their needs, how they are using it. Has Agile Populism killed Agile? That's the title of our workshop today. And what I would like to share with you is a small idea. Let's start with this simple definition by Agile from Oxford Languages. So it's able to move quickly and easily. That's scientifically defined. Or relating to or denoting a method of project management used especially for software development that is characterized by the division of tasks into short phases of work and frequent reassessment and adaptation of plans. So simply, it's the Agile we know: iterate, increment, and short whip, work in progress. Like everything else in the history of human race, us sapiens, we evolve, guys, and we all know that, as well as our communities, our beliefs, our needs, and environments. Agile took common light earlier this decade, and like everything else now, it has been a while, and it should and will evolve. Now, from here, we can define Agile Populism as most people are starting to use Agile. I'm initially an architect. Like, I never thought that I would be using Agile. I would be in Agile 5 years ago. In different industry, we can see that. In the medical industry, insurance, service industry, everything nowadays has started to adopt Agile. And I always read that sentence and I love it. And I always say it: you cannot do Agile. You need to be Agile. So people are more familiar and aware of this Agile thing and with its tools. In addition, in some perspective, it might be misused to stabilize the original system. How? Well, I would like to discuss it across three factors. One is the social needs, so humans. The second factor is the business aspires, so business. And the third one is the environment, which is contextual constraint. So we'll tackle now human, business, and environment. Let's start with the first factor, with the human, with the social needs. As I started in the introduction, our habits are changing with time, as well as the world surrounding us by social trends. Hence, we have different needs with time, and Agile that once fulfilled our desires will eventually be old-fashioned if static. Like everything else, if we have some entrepreneurs here or some freelancers, when you start to do something new, you need to answer the question, the most important question, which is why. Because if you don't fulfill a need for someone, then your project will go to waste. So if I want to ask you here a question, just to think about, reflect about, in the past 12 months, last year, how have you communicated with your organizations? Just take 10 seconds alone, reflect about it, how the communication was handled. Did you meet? Did you send an email? I don't know. So I will share now a study that has been made by Robert Allen last year in 2020. And we can see that the two initial channels has remained email and telephone, despite all technology and everything. Definitely face-to-face has been ranked 5 with 31% due to the Corona regulation, or else subjectively, I would say that face-to-face would be, if not number 1, number 2, because all the meetings, all the workshops, everything, you attended physically to your job space. But nonetheless, email and telephone remain number 1, despite other technologies that are being enhanced. And the purpose of this statistic, and why I'm sharing with you in that factor, the first one, the human, is that technology is moving forward and it's being more and more complex with time. But some stuff are being the same in terms of usability for us, for humans, because we get used to them and it serves our needs. So why to shift? Second factor is the business aspire. Now, business aspires are what our corporates seek to reach as a goal. Okay, and goals as well as visions should change periodically, or else we will create our own vicious loop and we will be stuck inside of it. Therefore, corporates' agility play by the guidelines of our community. So that's the first factor that we started with. And therefore, it plays by these guidelines to reach a success story, aka more profit. Because when you speak business, the success story of it is to have a higher ROI, a higher return over investment, more profit, more money, perfect. You will live to see another day. So I would like here to refer to an article from the SAI, Scaled Agile. You have an Agile team. Definitely you have multiple roles, product owners, Scrum Master, technicians, different people. They align for one thing, which are the iteration goals. And with their alignment to these iteration goals, they need to also align for the team PI objectives. And why am I sharing this? Because you always see the human factor is here. Agile is a framework, call it a method, call it, I don't know, a virtue, call it whatever you would like to call it. But without human, the who, it has no value. And therefore, it needs to have alignment. And you start to see there's a connection between a human and the business. And here I would like to make the third connection to the third factor that I will speak about, which is contextual constraint. And I would like to quote for Mr. Buckminster Fuller, may his soul rest in peace. I love this man. He would love to be called Bucky. He's an architect, an engineer, an entrepreneur, economist, financial, whatever. He's amazing. I would like to say what Bucky used to say. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And that's amazing, because no one, God even himself, or any power that you believe in, didn't give any ability to any person alive to change in the mindset of a different person. You cannot do that. You can affect, but you cannot change his behavior, his character. What you can do is, as Bucky here is telling us, is to create an environment, enhance a new context, and you will see how like-minded people will adapt that environment and adopt inside of it. It's just like an operation in biology. So if I have like a liver transplant, if it doesn't fit to the internal context, to my blood type and all this stuff inside, maximum 24 hours, it will reject itself. So we as people who are using Agile, if we're not enhancing the right environment for it, yeah, we are failing. So I could say that Agile populism, if lived upon healthy environments, will not kill Agile in a community. Rather, it will iterate the guidelines of Agile and serve to fit more into our society's needs and commodities. Again, we speak about society. So there's the three links: human, business, and context. There's also links, there's always links between these three. So in conclusion, iteration without increment has no value. And I would like to close by this short discussion with a retro in reverse this time, okay, with the three factors mentioned above. I will start with the contextual constraint. And I would like to say that if you do not adapt on your contextual constraint by enhancing the right environments to fit within, that would not bring healthy business aspires for you or for your communities and corporations and firms to move forward, resulting in a chaotic social understanding of what is Agile and how Agile should be considered. So you see, it's a loop, it's a cycle actually. And this cycle or loop, it's either we choose to iterate and increment within, we are creating something that will ease our everyday life, or we decide to draw our own vicious cycle and we will be swimming beneath our breath level, leading us to kill Agile or unfortunately to kill our business. So I would like to say that these three factors are essential every time we think about Agile. Every time we do reflect upon what we are making, we as humans, for Agile and what Agile is making for us. Because as I've started before, the first slide, the definition, the first definition even. What is Agile? Agile is able to move quickly and easily. It's not something like the example, Ruth was as agile as a monkey. So Ruth is agile and not Ruth is doing Agile. We cannot do Agile. Agile is not a product, rather than an environment, than a whole umbrella. You can pick a part of that umbrella, or simply you can adopt it to live it and to let your environment, whether your freelance project or your business project, to live within it also. So, and that's a healthy way to use Agile as a commodity and not to take that service and to kill ourselves with it, because human with time, with all the technologies that are being used nowadays, seeks two things: to win time, because time is money, time is valuable, we're speaking business here, and to ease the process to himself and to his life. We have 1,000 of issues to worry about every day. We don't want something in addition to that. So yeah, these are the three factors that I like to share with you. Now, if we go to the agenda, we have 10:30. Okay, we still have around like 9 minutes. It's to you if you like. We have the second part, as I said, it's open discussion. But if someone has any specific question concerning what I have just shared with you, my friends, or the simulation about the mindset and the three mindset, I mean, it's your time now, guys.
I have a question, but I'll wait if anyone else has got one first, since I tend to be quite forceful.
Can you just show us that graph again of the types of communication?
Mm-hmm.
When was that taken, and what audience was it? Was it, you know, global, European, American, Asian, African?
Yeah. Yes. Well, you have the reference of State of Conversational Marketing, and it was taken last year, focusing on business, corporates and enterprises. And I actually don't have a specific geography like it was taken in Europe or
Yeah.
in America, but yeah.
I would imagine that video conferencing or messaging would now be extremely high up that, bearing in mind the world situation on the pandemic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But what is interesting here, and I felt like I need to share with you and to hear different thoughts about it also, is that despite all the facts, we still, like 10 years ago, you still use the telephone and it's still ranked number 2, and email as well. Now, I see video messaging as 5%. That was a question mark for me. Also, one-to-one video calls, it's 7%. Now, personally, I would think of Zoom as a video call. So yeah, that was a big question mark for me. And I like the fact that people use commodities based on their aspires and their needs. Like I feel relaxed and I already got used to send an email. It's so easy I do it unconsciously, like when you go to your car and you drive it. So I will keep on using it. Why to change, with or without a pandemic? So yeah.
So the question I've got is that you said about we need to adapt Agile, or we need to evolve human behavior. Is Agile that easy to adapt? And is human behavior that easy to change?
Yeah, well, okay, I will start with the first part of it. Agile, it's not easy to adapt. It's a question of how much are you willing to adapt? That's one. Now, it's a matter about easy or not easy. I can say it's easy in a way that Agile tells you it's a continuous improvement. You are in a continuous learning environment. So don't feel like it's hard, because it's like climbing a ladder. You construct it step by step, step by step, step by step, and you will be up there. So it's a process. It's not an on-off switch button. It's a kind of an environment. Now, concerning the people, well, as I told you, you cannot change the mindset. Even if you try to, I can affect how you think, but after time you will think, you'll go back to your instinct. So what you can do is that take usage of that Agile to create an environment. And then when you move from push to pull, you will see how people in your team will feel more comfortable. When you give autonomy and you lead by example, you will see how your teammates, oh, okay, that's my boss. Sorry, that's my leader. He's giving me autonomy. I've been here for 2 months, but he have confidence in my background and in what I do. And even if you fail, no, it's a safe environment to fail, because you don't fail. We all know that. Okay, you don't fail, you learn. Yeah, exactly. You don't fail, you learn. Nowadays, we all use it. And I wish that a lot of people will practice it, not only say it. Because yes, you don't fail. No, you fail. But the idea is to be conscious when you fail. Because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on myself. So yeah, I think we go again to a cycle. It's a cycle. So you adopt Agile to enhance an environment, to let people merge inside of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I love it. Other people would like to share an example, to ask anything?
I have the same thinking process of thinking. Well, what are the blockers when adopting Agile, etc. And for me, the mindset is very important, but also what we define the organization culture. I think that's one of the most blockers that you will find, and perhaps that's what you are calling the environment. But for me, it's more like the organization culture. When
Yeah.
you was referring to the email and the emails and the telephone, and for me, it's the reflection of the culture of the
Exactly.
of the organization, and for me, yes, it's more. If you want to have an environment that can help people to grow and to lead by the example, etc., etc., you must be in some culture,
Exactly.
organization culture that helps you to set those kind of practice and values and so for me, yes, and this is done also by the mindset you were referring for a different kind of mindset, so the growth mindset and the third one, I don't recall it, but yes, if you have the right, yes, the benefit, yes, and if you have the right mindset, you can form the right culture.
Exactly.
That can help you to so for me, yes, it's more like how you can change this culture.
Cool. Yeah, I do agree. I totally agree with you. Exactly. You need to understand the mindset of the people, because in the end, as I said, Agile is here for who? For people. So, yeah. Now I will pass the mic to my friend Bob. Thank you.
Great.
So,
Make me host.
Yes, that's what I'm doing now. Make host. Yes. Yeah.
Great. So it looks like it is still recording, so we'll keep that going. And Zoom has recently released a feature that when I share a whole screen, your faces disappear. So if that happens, I'll have to, oh no, you're there. Good. I was teaching the other day and I was rendered incapable of seeing my students whenever I shared. Hopefully the most recent Zoom upgrade has fixed that, because that is not a great place to be. So I'm going to tackle this question from a couple of angles. One, my personal experience using Agile. The second, the community as it has built and as it has sort of fragmented, if you will, because of its popularity. I mean, we have more and more people using Agile or claiming to use Agile, and we'll talk a bit about that. And then I want to sort of leave with some very simple ideas, just my ideas. I don't think there will be anything particularly profound that I will be able to come up with, but we will see. So my history, 21 years of Agile and Lean experience. I started in '99. I happened to meet Ron Jeffries at a conference, and he introduced me to extreme programming. Some other things, I started the Agile Toolkit podcast in 2005. I don't produce it that much, but got recordings of many thought leaders and practitioners and people at conferences. And in less contagious years, I'm the chair of the Agile DC conference, and we've run that conference, had run it for 10 years in a row. It's a fairly large conference here in DC. I had some folks from Lightspeed on earlier, and I want to tie my Agile journey to our mission, and that is making people's work more valued, productive, and fulfilling. So when I think of any method, Agile or Lean is our specialty, it is never about the method, but it's about creating an environment where, and I never call people resources, but where people can contribute value and hopefully gain personal value from that contribution as it relates to a work setting. Again, this Agile is fundamentally in a context of delivering some outcome, some initiative, if we're in a government agency, some sort of mission, business value. We see Agile in many, many different places. But when I met Ron Jeffries, and his new site looks considerably different, but his old site, xprogramming.com, explained extreme programming. And that's where I got my introduction. He was my first coach. I started helping others implement extreme programming in 2000 and 2001. We did a fairly large program. I was introduced to Scrum. And those are really the basis of my team delivery exposure to Agile. Lots of project delivery before. And, but when I think of Agile now, I think of three basic flavors of team delivery. The two time-boxed ones we have right here, extreme programming. That's where I got my start, and that's everybody, looks back fondly on their first date, and this was my first exposure to Agile. Over the time, I've done a lot of work in Scrum. So these two methods are iterative and incremental. Joseph mentioned that as a key feature of Agile. And they allowed this model of continuous improvement to take place, right? We have that in both extreme programming and in Scrum. Now, obviously, more recently, a lot of folks have been using Kanban, but when I was first exposed to Agile in 99, 2000, I did Scrum, I did XP, I'd heard about feature-driven development. I knew a lot about Lean at the time, but this was my focus. This is where I started, my seed, if you will, that grew. If you told me I was going to have 21 years of a career here, because like the woman who said I'm a freelancer and I would quit, I was a quitter, and I assumed I would get sick of it and pull the eject seat a long time ago, but here I am. And I'll probably die in Agile or on a farm. We'll see where life leads me. So Scrum has gained a ton of popularity. 58% of teams at the team level report they're doing Scrum. 3% report they're using the I don't know method, which is I'm not as familiar with, but that's a polling error or a polling feature, if you will. And XP, my personal, where I started, has shrunk down to about 1%. Well, why is that? Is Scrum some precious little thing with ceremonies, and it's this beautiful semi-religious thing that we participate in? No. Very simple. 3 words: marketing, marketing, marketing. They gained the mind share of people by setting up the Scrum Alliance and marketing it. I was there when the XP folks said, we don't need no stinking badges. We're not going to, it's a movie reference, and I realize it may not be universally applicable to everybody, but they said, we're not going to do certification. We've seen IT certification. It's, it's not our gig. Marketing tends to matter. So unfortunately, XP shrunk. My thesis is you can start with any decent method: Kanban, XP, feature-driven development, DSDM, Alistair Coburn's Crystal method. calling it crystal meth is not that great either. If you've seen Breaking Bad, you know, it doesn't end well really for anybody. But he had the crystal method, which was a risk-based method that was different than XP or Scrum and DSDM. DX, which was XP flipped over, was used for scaling. It was a RUP variant that we used successfully to do a 300-person program early on when we had to make up a scaling method. So when we look at the larger methods, teams of teams working together in Agile, we have SAFe as the most popular. Why? Same story. They created an environment to market and certify, and that enabled greater adoption. So there are a lot of folks in the community that, you know, we're looking back 20 years at the Agile Manifesto, right? And should be all familiar with this. If not, go to agilemanifesto.org, right? We're uncovering better ways of developing software. Why software? It's a sampling error. Why all men? It's a sampling error. Dot Tudor couldn't fly in from the UK. She was one of the co-creators of DSDM. So we have this thing that we're saying is Agile been spoiled by populism? Well, I want to ask the question, what is Agile? I mean, really, what is it? Anybody have any thoughts or care to interject?
A way of working.
A way of working, some ideas about ways of working. And the outcomes of the, yes, PM, I see you came off mute.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm Marina. I didn't recognize PM was me. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, all I see is E.M.Friesen.
Exactly, yeah, we share the account with my husband.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I'm a little bit like Kung Fu Panda. I've just discovered Kung Fu. I just discovered Agile for myself. So this is why for me, the name of this session is Doom. How can it be the end of Agile? I just found it. No. So to me, it's the whole mindset in the first place. So it's not really just working, or I don't know, like a religion or a cult. It's more like what Joseph was talking about. I like the idea of mindsets, but to me, it's a little bit simplified. So maybe it's a little bit like a mindset. So welcoming change, not being afraid of constant alterations, not being afraid of elusive goals. Yeah, so to me, it's more like braving this constantly changing environment today more than ever.
Yeah, these particular people, and you know, they happen to be who they were. They happen to be having a conversation online, and they happen to be doing a lot of different things. Take a look at crystal methods from Alistair Coburn. It doesn't look a ton like XP that Kent Beck and Ward Cunningham and other folks Ron Jeffries were doing. It doesn't look like some of the work that Ken, Jeff, Mike Beadle were doing in Scrum. It has quite a bit of similarity, certainly more than with Alistair Coburn. Dave Thomas was really focused on programming as an art and wasn't as much interested in methodology, but they had this idea. These are the things we hold to be similar, right? And when they talked about it at their 10-year anniversary, they say, yeah, you know, I don't know that we would change much. We might take software out because it's working in so many different places. And it was just a point in time. We got together, we had a conversation, we wrote some stuff down. We're human. We're doing the best we can. They didn't say that, but if you saw their speeches, it really came down to, it is not a thing. It was a conversation that happened to be captured. So we need to be careful about ruining this thing that may or may not actually exist. It is a conversation. It is an echo from the past, and it has become representational. And I appreciate the things that it represents. Not too long after that, in 2004, there was a Declaration of Interdependence. Folks like, it was put up on Alistair Coburn's website. Do we have signatories here? I pulled this up on the internet, and it doesn't have signatories, but it's like Jim Highsmith, my boss, Sanjeev Augustine, a bunch of folks got together and created the Declaration of Interdependence, another point in time document capturing a conversation, a dialogue of ideas that were changing, and they took a picture, right? It is a point in time. We need to be careful to understand it as it grows. So they said, we increase investment by making continuous flow of value our focus. We deliver reliable results by engaging customers in frequent interactions and shared ownership. We expect uncertainty and manage for it through iterations, anticipation, and adaptation, change, continuous improvement. We realize we unleash creativity and innovate by recognizing that people, individuals, are the ultimate source of value. Create an environment where they can make a difference. We boost performance through group accountability for results and shared responsibility for team effectiveness, right? This idea of a self-organizing, self-managing team. And we improve effectiveness and reliability through situationally specific strategies, processes, and tools. One of the things that I see in the community a lot is, anybody familiar with the character Gollum, right? My precious, the ring, one ring to rule them all. And I see folks from the XP community saying XP is the one in a true way. And I did that for a while. I see so many folks in the Scrum community acting like Scrum police, like they've been given a badge. And here I'll refer back to, we don't need no stinking badges, to come in and say, you're not doing Scrum. And here we have people saying that we want situationally specific strategies and situationally specific processes and practice. Working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. We hold these truths to be self-evident, but if anybody should challenge our special process and tools, don't challenge Scrum. Scrum is perfect. Don't challenge XP. Don't challenge SAFe. SAFe is perfect. It's right here. The root of those tools, those processes, destructions are built in to the manifesto, to the Declaration of Interdependence, and to the tools themselves. I believe that Scrum has a retro. I think most people can at least say, yeah, that shows up in the practice. That either means something or it doesn't. And it may mean that we make a process change that takes us off the Scrum compound, right? Takes us out of the Scrum canon. Takes us off book in chess. Wow, that we're all before we'd been in book. Those were tools and techniques, moves that had been played in chess, but now we're, if you're familiar with the term, off book. We're now in new uncharted territory, and we're gonna have to make something up that works for us playing whatever color it is we happen to be playing in chess. Chess got huge during COVID because of the Queen's Gambit. It did it in our house as well. Get very cranky when my wife takes my queen, and she does that quite effectively. So I say that to sort of set myself up for thinking about, what does it mean, has populism killed, what has it done? Has it killed Agile? Well, I don't know that Agile is a thing. I see a lot of poorly executed processes that don't deliver value, don't make people more effective or happy or valued or fulfilled. So if that means that's because it's popular, well, then the question is, we have to run the counterfactual. What would the world be like without crappy Agile? Maybe it would be worse. Maybe crappy Agile is better than crappy waterfall. I've seen lots of great successful waterfall projects. I'm not going to bash waterfall. That can be a situationally appropriate and specific method or tool. If you have a great deal of knowledge about what to build and how to build it, why not make a plan and execute on it, right? You can do that. If things change, it gets a little tougher, right? So I don't know. I don't know that I come here to bury Caesar, to praise Caesar, or just like sit back and watch the show, right? Where are we using Agile? All over the place, right? When those folks got together, they talked about software development, and that is the most popular place we use it. But what industries were they using it in? Well, kind of software industries. Now we're using it in financial services, professional services, government. I've seen some really good programs, amazing DevOps at least one agency that I worked at here in the government. One of the best programs I've ever worked on. If you told me that was going to happen 10 years ago, I would have told you were nuts. So I don't want to freeze Agile 20 years ago. I want to evolve it. And I have some ideas about that, and I'll make it quick because I want to also respect the time. We're using it in many, many different industries. What are the benefits? Well, our ability to manage changing priorities. Nobody noticed that stuff is happening all the time. Nobody planned for COVID in, January 1 of 2020. Maybe some people saw it coming, but right. Project visibility, business and IT alignment. The people needing the work of Agilists aligning with the folks that are delivering that work. See a lot of a back to basics movement again, the modern Agile, the sort of the philosophy of no one cares. I would be a little more crass, but I'm sure the community policies don't allow me to swear. So nobody gives a shit about your processes. Nobody cares about Scrum. Nobody cares about Kanban. Let's stop talking about it. Let's be customer centered and make people awesome. Deliver value continuously. Make safety a prerequisite. Experiment and learn rapidly. This was from Josh Kirievsky's keynote, where he kind of took this back to basics approach again. Now, Agile tools, techniques, XP, Kanban, SAFe, DAD, LESS, all of these are great places to find situationally specific tools and techniques that might help. But if you're not getting good results, your system is perfectly designed to give you the results you're getting. I love Deming. You like Bucky. We're cool. So we've got to change the way we're working if it's not delivering the right thing. Also, like Bruce Lee, very quotable quotes. Play the long game. Goal is not always meant to be reached. Often serves simply as something to aim at. And Agile may have put that place in that little shining city on the hill, right? It may be out there as a North Star. But discipline is the only thing that allows us to get good. You can be a really bad XP team without discipline. You can be a bad Scrum team without discipline. If you're very disciplined at Scrum, you'll apply that retro and maybe you'll change it so it doesn't look like Scrum. That's okay. Discipline and continuous improvement are the only things that I think mean anything. And it's not just Agile. It's what makes martial artists great. It's what makes architects great. I'll give a shout out. I'll it is what makes a good waterfall project manager great. And it's what makes Agile teams great. Discipline and continuous improvement. We do what we say we're going to do, and then we figure out life's not perfect. We're not perfect. How can we make it a little bit better? And that's kind of my soapbox speech for the day. Thoughts, questions, concerns?
So you kind of managed to pick out the bit that I thought no one would notice, which was that Agile doesn't exist, because it's so many facets of the same story. So that was really interesting. I did notice a certain penchant for Bruce Lee in your in your personal ideas. I think the other thing you said that I thought was really interesting was Agile is a conversation and an echo from the past. What is the future? Have you got what is the current conversation, or what is the conversation that you'd like to see in the future? Do you have any ideas? You don't have to have the answer. I'm just saying if you got things that you're thinking about.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is we've got to get, when I think about lean manufacturing, lean delivery, whatever I happen to think about lean, I think Agile methods are manifestations of fundamentally lean principles. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but I often say, if Edward Deming and Taiichi Ohno, certainly folks that worked very deeply on Toyota Production System, came back to life, 2021 all of a sudden has a zombie apocalypse problem, which is kind of expected after 2020. I mean, although we got to figure out how it's going to get worse. And they would look at all the organizations doing lean, and they wouldn't see any of the particular processes that they had used. They would see echoes from the past, continuous flow. They would see just in time, limiting work in process. They would see reducing inventory by lowering the water line. But the AI controlled robots bringing, fenders to the line, they would be amazed. So what I predict is that we're very bad at predicting the future. And there's a Yogi Berra joke in there somewhere. It's like, prediction is hard, especially about the future. And I'm sure I've butchered it, but so I don't know, but I know that, and I know there's going to be a lot more crappy Agile than good Agile, but that's just human nature. There's a lot more bad books than good books. But I think it can be a force for improvement, and it's going to evolve in ways that I can't anticipate. There is absolutely one way to stop it, and that is to say we've landed on the answer and we shouldn't change. That's the one way to stop the evolution of Agile, is to become a fixed mindset about the processes and tools that we use.
Thanks.
And meanwhile, if you'd like to get certified in Scrum, I do that as well. Right. So I teach those, but in my class, I always say this is a starting recipe. It's not the end.
Yeah. Well, actually, I would like to share what Linur has typed in the chat. She said that I think Agile exists the way clouds exist, always in change, always in motion, formed by the environment around.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
I love that metaphor.
Thank you. I've also had a while to think about it. I started in an XP team in early this century, so be doing this for a while.
Great.
Yeah, I always use this saying that I have in my country that says, even monkeys can fall from trees. So, if monkeys that are specialists in Agile can fall from trees, so they can learn and keep learning, so to perfect their art. So I always tell this saying. So for me, Agile is totally what I agree with what you were saying. It's more like people gathering, sharing some values and trying to improve. And that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions for Bob, or should we go towards the break?
So
Or
if I'm not
statements at Bob?
mistaken now, yeah, we have 10 minutes break.
And then when we get back, I think we want to just open it up to discussion.
Yeah, exactly. So we meet at, I don't know where everyone now is on a specific time. My time is at 9:10. The GMT time will be 8:10.
So just 20
minutes
minutes past
from
the
now.
hour.
10 minutes, guys. So 10 minutes and we'll be back again.
Great.
Thanks, everyone. On just because this is
Yep.
nice, interesting stuff. So we're kind of at the time that we said that we'd restart.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, how do you want to run the discussion?
Just I don't know, Joseph, any thoughts? I was thinking we'd just open it up, or maybe ask questions and you and I can bounce back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, guys, like we thought, me and Bob, like it's for you, and no one like came here. Someone told him to come, so it's good to share experience. It's an open discussion now. It's a reflection. It's a reflective session. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if there's people behind these names or it's still in break.
There's definitely one behind Marina. I can see.
Yeah, for Marina, I'm sure. But other than that, I don't know. So just give us sign. Yeah, okay, Jonathan is here.
All right, you were just talking there actually, and Karl was bemoaning the hierarchical structure of business and commerce and the construction industry, let's say. Okay, but and that there is this potential flaw in having the single leader of an organization, and yet in Agile, we're told that you can't have multiple product owners. There must be a single product owner. So, how do you square that then? If you're on one hand, I'm not blaming you, Karl, but it's just your opinion. On the one hand, you've got a product owner which has to have the clear vision of the customer value, and then the fact that we need a self-organizing team that are going to work together as a team. So in one way, they're diametrically opposed, aren't they? And therefore, I suppose the real question is, are we going to continue to have this argument that Agile doesn't have a place in society, or it does have a place in society, or that the management structure is broken? Because actually one of the underpinning features of it is that as a single Scrum Master, as a single product owner. So I'm just interested, perhaps in Joseph and Bob, your idea on that, in terms of you've got a single person, but actually is that the best way to construct your organization if in fact we're saying that you might be better off in a team environment?
I have a very simple answer, but I'd love to hear yours, Joseph, your thought.
Yeah, well, I will speak about the idea of, it's not necessary to have one single Scrum Master or one single person for that. Actually, you don't have one. Usually, you might have one for a train, but you might have multiple. We won't enter to the technicalities now, but the idea is that every person in his function, in his scope of work and job function, should be complementary to the other. It's like a puzzle. So despite the fact, let's say, yes, you have one Scrum Master, though no, you have one for each team, but maybe, and some big teams, they have maybe two. But anyway, you have one Joseph, one Jonathan, one Bob, one Karl. If they don't complement themselves, if they are not here, everyone to help himself and the other, then the puzzle will fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. I've seen a single product owner work. I've seen more often than not single Scrum Master is a more common pattern that I see turning out to be functional. Quite often the single product owner model, depending on the complexity of the problem that they're trying to solve, is aspirational but not the most functional implementation of actually aligning people across the organization, multiple teams. And the reason that I say that is there's just once you start to deal with lots and lots of dependencies, lots and lots of stakeholders, some applications have many different types of users. And to assume that one person can have the knowledge about the problem, the potential solutions for that problem, because this idea of gathering requirements was always ridiculous, right? We've got a little red and yellow basket and there are all these requirements in the field and they're like flowers, you just go pick them up and put them in the basket. It was never really true, right? It's about divergent thinking, trying to figure out in a sea of imperfect ideas about how to solve this problem, which is the least imperfect of the ideas. And then we got to get it prioritized because the organization may want to build something else. So have I seen a single product owner work? Yes. Have I seen more often than not the product owner partnering, collaborating, working in a team model with other people, subject matter experts, people on the team, analysts or technical folks, collaborating with customers? That's the more common pattern. The more they have to collaborate, the longer it takes to get decisions made, the less fast we're able to go as a system, which is why the abstract system of single product owner focused on what we build, Scrum Master focused on continuous improvement, and team focused on self-organizing around, we talk self-organizing. This is Scrum is a highly constrained system. They don't get to decide what to do, right? They get to collaborate at the sprint planning. And then, then they've got to self-organize around the problem, but it's kind of like working in a commercial kitchen if you've ever done it. I mean, just because you want to go out and play Frisbee doesn't mean that's what you can self-organize around do. There are customers in the dining room, we got to get this stuff out the door. And it can look chaotic, but we're self-organizing around that problem. Oh, shoot, we're out of the lamb. What do we do? Go tell these people they can't get the lamb. I have no idea where I'm going with that particular train of thought, but that's me. The world is like a squirrel covered in fishing lures. So, so why do we have that abstraction? Because it is potentially the best solution if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then you got to come up with some other situationally specific way of gaining alignment. These, Karl, you were talking about multi-billion-dollar programs. To be sure, in those systems, there's a great deal of alignment. It might be emergent alignment, but you still have to be aligned on a direction and a solution. And that's where our product owners can help, but it's an abstraction that we have to map into the real world.
So I see product owners as part of the Scrum. They might be part of the Scrum of Scrums, or they might be part of Release Train, depending upon what framework you're using. But a product owner doesn't own the product. They are a channel for ideas and concepts from a wider group of stakeholders. And I think the problem we've got now is because we've got these activities that become roles, that have become titles, that become jobs. People think that a product owner is someone that owns the product, and actually what they are is a facilitator. Just like the Scrum Master's job is facilitation. And when I do Scrum, I share that role amongst the team and we take turns. So it's an activity, not a job title. But I understand why it's become a job title, and understand why product ownership has become a job as well. But it reduces the effectiveness of and the freedom and the delivery of teams.
2 seconds.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks, man. Cheers. 2 seconds.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Karl, actually. Unfortunately, it is becoming like a job title due to the immaturity in Agile nowadays, just like we were speaking, misusage, or the networking, the marketing. You start seeing a lot of hashtags, product owner, Scrum Master, and now you believe that I want to study to be a product owner? No, that's not a thing that you study. I would refer to the product owner as the link between the firm and the customer. It's like the transit area, and he's here. So he take that vision of what the product, of what the client, what the customer wanted his product to be, and he makes sure to implement it inside with his team. Not less, not more.
Do other people have an opinion about this? It's because you were all in this world of complexity and job titles and all this sort of stuff, but how it's affecting how we are able to work. And now the certification bodies are creating multiple certifications for things that for the most part are common sense. How are you guys managing it? Sorry, Bob.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, this is Tori. I think, yeah, in general, like my point of view is certainly, and I'm not sure if anyone said this earlier, I've kind of been jumping in and out, but, my fundamental view of frameworks is they're really nothing more than vehicles of learning, right? And so, the goal is never Agile, the goal is Scrum. I personally don't really care what you subscribe to. It's really like, what are we willing to start with to learn and adapt and evolve past it, right? And so, for me, and focusing on outcomes and context, right? I tend not to be caught up in, roles, job descriptions. I think a lot of organizations hang them hats on those because they lack maturity, right? They need some clear guardrails, governance. That's what makes these frameworks popular. It gives them a clear sense of, hey, if we do these things. And so I think, from a change agent perspective, our role is to go into organizations, understand their context, right? And then have those how might we conversations around outcomes and be okay if that means that we have different adaptations or variations of like Scrum or like roles. I think, one thing I kind of run into is a lot of practitioners, they seem to index on the practices so much, it kind of just like, kind of creates this whole like, this complex about what is Agile and like what is Scrum, right? And so, I'm okay with if there's a variation of, hey, there's a proxy product owner, or single product, like I don't really care. It's really about what is your context, what are you trying to resolve, and let's take it from there, because you can have great Scrum or great Agile, but if you're not developing compelling products, like who cares, right? Who cares what your roles are and how you name them, and your maturity assessments, like no one cares. The customer's not buying your product, right? And so, for me, I think it's like getting a better job at focusing on that and less of like what we think Scrum and Agile is. Because again, if you're going out of business, man, like no one cares about your Scrum or like no one cares. Like no one cares about those things. And so, I'm more of that guy. And so, yeah, that's just kind of my general thoughts as I, just as a part of the community, that's my general thoughts. And I feel like I get caught in that as well, because I go in a lot of environments and like their view of like Agile, unfortunately, because it's been marketed and, it's popular, it's like the practices and processes. And so when I go in as a change agent and say, no, this is actually like a culture change. This is organizational development. This is leadership development. This is organizational change management. What I find is they're resistant to me because they're like, wait a minute. I didn't know I need to sign up for that. Well, hold on. Like, I thought I could just come in and like do some things. And so it's a very interesting conversation. So now, my integrity is like, okay, do I just kind of want to go along with this, or like, this is not the best environment for me because we don't really believe in the same kind of things, right? They're invested in a gimmick. They're not willing to make those sacrifices or compromises for change.
So Tori, you're not an agile magician then. You don't bring in the magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's no magic, right? It's kind of like, it's kind of, what I think of is like, the very nature of like how we build families, right? It's like, you build your family, common beliefs, those things. You go in a lot of organizations, we don't lead with that, right? It's like, we talk in the community about servant leadership, but you go in a lot of these environments and that's not their core belief system of how they run and manage their organization, right? There's their politics, there's their bureaucracy they're investing in, and we go in with this thought leadership, and sometimes that's not the work that they want to do. That's not where they are in the moment, right? And so we say fail early, fail fast, but oftentimes, right, like, okay, cool, we let them fail early, fail fast, but like, we kind of lose in some cases a seat at the table of actually being change agents and being influencers. And so it just perpetuates itself, right? It's just, right. It just, it becomes, who you like more versus like, the outcomes and those kind of things. So, I mean, that's just my general point of view and my, what I observe in general. I think some of us, we've done it to ourselves. And I think sometimes we kind of just, I think we could have a bit more integrity in terms of like how we go about helping organizations, right? Because I know people, look, you go in and make 200 grand a year, right? And they're going down the wrong road. I know a lot of people who would like make their money, right? I'm just be honest. And so, that's just my general framing. A lot of training has no value, right? These training providers, right, is insane, right? Like if you go look at these sites and you look at the amount of like training that exists right now versus pre-COVID, it's insane. But the organizations aren't actually being any more successful than where they were before. So how is it that you have all this training and organizations are still struggling? Because we're focused on the wrong thing, right? So at least that's my point of view. I think it's business model innovation, right? I think it's—
If I may interrupt you, I just thank you so much for this. This was so much worth coming here because, like I said, I'm at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at different options. Do I go into direction of Scrum Master or direct shoot for the stars and go for agile coaching? And I have a feeling that everybody is out there to sell me their product. I have a feeling that everybody is dying to certify me. And even not to offend anyone here in the room, but to me, even having a Scrum Master level 1 is like a proof that I read a book. And the last time I've been checked whether I read, it was the school. I'm sorry.
I can tell you that the pass rate on the test is out 99.6%. So it is not stretching anybody's mind, right?
Thank you. It just, I think the general presupposition is that everyone is just minding their time at home doing nothing. And it's just for the Gen Pop who think, okay, what can I do? Shall I learn Chinese with the app, or shall I don't know, take a course for 10,000 euros and, I don't know, become a Scrum Master?
If I may,
if someone's giving you a course for 10,000, I can give you one for a lot cheaper.
The bidding war starts. Can I interrupt? Andrea put a hand up. Did you want to say something? And then the two speakers can answer both questions.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm still putting my hands up, but I don't know how to put it up. Thank you for making this meeting available, and thank you for the great insights. I am a Scrum Master, actually. I recently got certified, but I spent my past 5 years in a software as a service company and in a role of project manager, but I actually worked in an agile projects, and I practically had a role of Scrum Master and product owner a little bit, But since I was really attracted to the Scrum Master role, I got certified, and I really want to move into that direction. But I have an architectural background, as Joseph has. I have a master's degree in architecture, in building architecture.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's a very interesting combination. So my experience is that I also, it's not my idea, but it was an aha moment a few days ago when I read an article that basically Scrum is hitting a glass ceiling. So that was also my experience, that basically while we are working in the self-organizing teams and working on different projects, MVPs and whatever, we are doing great. But when we go to executive level, to all the top managers, CEOs, it's really changing. It's really, well, they love to use the buzzword of we are agile, we are using Scrum, but you know, when you get there, you really need to fight for everything what needs to be agile and you know, in a Scrum. So I would like to ask also Bob and Karl's thoughts about this. Do you have also same opinion or different opinion about it?
Go for it, Bob.
Sure. So quite often, as others have observed, folks are trying to use Scrum as a cure-all, as a Mr. Fix-It pill or Ms. Fix-It pill. And the reality is, without investing and I've seen Lean be a glass ceiling. People come in, do some sort of Six Sigma, but there's no fundamental change in the organizational behavior at all levels. And I don't want to conflate agile methods with lean manufacturing methods. There are lots of significant differences, which is a whole other conversation. But in a truly effective lean organization, whether the idea of continuous improvement, customer centricity exists at all levels. And for them to be effective, strategy informs execution, execution informs strategy, and it's not necessarily a hierarchy, it's an alignment. Most organizations fail regardless of the method they use. So Scrum can hit a glass ceiling if we don't sort of use it as a way of disciplining and investing in that continuous improvement to truly get better. Most people want to fix IT. What if we don't fix funding? What if we don't understand our customer? What if we're Sears and we're just in an industry? Sears may not translate that well, yeah, but it's a failing retail giant that if you'd asked me when I was a kid if they were going to go out of business, I would have, because I can't predict the future very well, I would have said no. But so lots of reasons that organizations fail, and we cannot take that much credit in the Agile community for their success or their failure. I certainly know if they want to call themselves Agile and are not investing in continuous improvement, then that's a label. It's not being Agile. It's just a label.
So from my side, because I actually do organizational design, there is a glass ceiling depending upon where you come into the organization. I don't believe that you can transform an organization from the ground up. And I think someone said that at one of the sessions I went to recently. I think you need to transform organizations from every level at the same time. Now, to do that, you need the board's buy-in. You need to get, and I'm going to get in trouble plugging my book again. But I talk about patronage. Patronage is essential for transformation. And if you don't have patronage from the top, then the people who do the work that pay for everyone's expensive salaries, because the world is actually inverted. You know, you've got this one person at the top and all these people working. Well, all the people working give the one person at the top their salary. Unless the people at the top embrace that the way they've been going now is not enough for the future, and that things have to change, then no matter what you do with teams who produce the money that pays their salaries, they will never achieve the value principles of Agile, because governance will stop them, finance will stop them, work contracts, the unions will stop them. All of those facets control how an organization breathes. And if you don't understand them and you go in gung-ho, hey, I've just got my certificate, I'm going to go in, I'm going to change the world, everyone looks at you like you're mad. Change the 8 people you're working with, and that'll be enough. And then you find out that you're actually getting total garbage in, and you have no control over it, and you just get really frustrated. So I think find out a bit more about how organizations work. And there are loads of glass ceilings, but find out where you can have the right level of impact to actually deliver value. I think that's the thing. It's very easy to get wrapped up in, we're building this great product, but actually it's a stupid idea. There's no market for it. It's wrongly priced. It's illegal in most of the countries they want to sell it, and all this sort of stuff. And you do all that work. You spend 2 years building this fabulous thing, and then no one buys it. And it demoralizes everyone that's been involved in creating it, because the initial work was not done. There's no proper foundation in it. So I'm sorry, that's not probably what you wanted to hear, but instead of assuming that you can change the world, find out where you can change it first, do some research, understand the scenarios you're going into, and set some parameters around what you consider work to be. We heard from Tori earlier that you can end up in very frustrating situations, and I have walked away from projects myself, because the people that hire me expect me to have magic. They think I'm a wizard, and I don't have magic, and I'm not a wizard. I can't convert a poor business process into a winning system if the people that own the poor business process won't change. So hope that is helpful. Joseph, do you want to?
Actually, I agree with everything you have said. I just want to mention something in regards to what Tori has started to speak, and then Marina, and a little bit Andrea tackled it about certification, tools. Tori said that like he doesn't care about Scrum and stuff. Of course, in business, I need profit. Profit is more money. You can continue. You can be viable. But I think that majority here knows it, though I need to say it because a lot of people doesn't know it. Scrum is not agile. Safe is not agile. All these stuff. Safe is a framework. Scrum, these are tools. Certificates that you take, this should be like part of your immunity towards agile. Again, agile is the environment. I will give you an example. In my company at Kigon, where I work, like all of us consultants, we do all the certificates. The smallest consultant has like 10 plus. PSM1, PSM2, SPC. I'm a certified SPC from Scale Agile and PSM1 and all of this stuff. But I don't do it like to get something in return in my company. No, they tell you that you need to do it just to get knowledge. And these are the least thing, as Bob said, like the passing rate now with the safe framework, it's a bit more difficult, but still the passing rate, it's 95 plus. So it's not something like you're opening up your mind to crack a little bit and to think. It's like you, like everyone else. What every time I clarify is that these are tools. They simplify your life in your journey in Agile. Again, Agile, as mentioned with Bob and Karl specifically, if not the patrons of your organization and everyone want to live in that environment, you as an employee, you can start a little bit, but then it's again, you will reject yourself from that environment because you see yourself that you don't fit anymore.
So Stephen's got a question, and I'm going to need to share my screen because it's about the product lifecycle curve. Do you want to kick off?
Hopefully I'm speaking. Yeah, hiya. Yeah, I was just thinking back to the we've back to the original populism killed Agile, and we're talking about Thanks for sharing that. I was just wondering where people think we are. Are we at maturity? Are we still in the growth stage? Is it beginning to decline? Where, I mean, this is open to everyone, not just Bob and Joseph and Karl. Where is the loose concept of agile, if we're not going to define it?
Can I just say something fast here? I will take the initiative to start. For me, again, as I said, agile is not a product, so I don't even put it in that graph. For me, it's one thing, it's a growth. It will keep on growing. It's continuous learning, continuous improvement, and
but the
agile
term, as we understand it today, has evolved over the last
exactly.
20
So
years.
Growth, it's on growth every time. It has for me, it's subjective opinion. It has no maturity in terms of, I cannot say that that's the peak of agile. It wouldn't reach a peak. It will continue to grow.
Yeah, I think you and Alistair Coburn may be at odds, because he refers to the Agile Industrial Complex. You know, and as a consultant and trainer, I'm part of that. But you know, the question is, where can I do the most good? I would say we're probably in the growth to maturity transition. We're not ubiquitous, so I don't think we've hit full. Certain areas have hit full maturity, but you know, but there are places where it's just being introduced and just starting to grow. My hope is that the methods evolve, which are the things that are the products. The methods are really the products. Which is that product extension. And my hope is that part of the idea of sort of tearing down any particular method is to move people off that stand so we can get to product extension, because otherwise I think we'll just be stuck in decline.
Anyone else?
If I may, well, I'm at the beginning of the trip of this thing, and I am at the Mount Stupid right now. So from where I stand, it looks a little bit, just referring to what Karl said before, that people would expect you to perform magic and to be a wizard. From where I stand, it looks a little bit like we're supposed to be more like a Wizard of Oz. So we have to hide behind the green curtain of terminology and patented words that cover specific techniques that if you're smart, you can actually think of them yourself. And then you just go around and hand out the diploma to the straw man, and I don't know, you know, just say these encouraging words to the give the courage to the lion, and so on and so forth. So I think that's what's expected. I browse through the vacancies regularly that are posted on LinkedIn, and from what I see here in Germany, definitely the perception is, yes, you have to perform magic, or at least you have to be able to appear as someone in a glamorous, sparkly attire, and you know, wave your magic wand.
So just for full disclosure, I was a Scrum Master for 6 years before I did a certification to be a Scrum Master. Because as Bob's kind of describing, a lot of people aren't really aware. You know, when he says he's been doing this for since 1998, 99, Agile itself is a culmination. As he said earlier, it's a conversation, but it's kind of like everything hit a point and someone came out with something that crystallized that point. But actually, a lot of the practices were going on before. The reason I got involved with Agile is because I'm from a human-centered design background, which is the modern terminology for user-centered design. And Agile nicked user stories from us. And I thought, how dare they? I'll have to find out what this is all about. And so there's a whole lot of cross-pollination. There, you know, we have to accept, and you know, for me, there's not one curve. It's totally fractured. And what I think that we're trying to do with this festival is say we don't care which curve you're in. We're not trying to propagate a truth. We're just trying to find out what's happening and trying to learn from each other. And I think that's more human. So is there a point at which Agile coalesces again? I have no idea. We could, by the end of this, we might be calling it Bob or Sandra instead of Agile. I don't know.
I'm flattered.
Yeah, we'll call it Bob. We'll start a new cult after Bob.
I've also heard that I'm your uncle, so that's great.
You understand what I'm saying? It's I'm in trouble now. Please contact the policy people. But I don't think we should be defining the outcomes before we've done the experiments.
Yeah, I would also say, Marina, I wouldn't put too much in those HR posts. If you look up a marketing specialist or pick any specialization, they are going to list a inhuman number of qualifications. Mm-hmm. And if you like to work in this way, you've got to get with a team, and getting with a team means getting hired and maybe jumping through some hoops, maybe getting a certification. I mean, I like to think that the class, yes, it teaches you Scrum, but at least in mine, I try to keep it conversational like this and talk about the real, the real value and agile values and those sorts of things.
Well, I certainly hope it's not like a Bible reading where people just open the Scrum Guide and read it aloud.
Yeah, and I heard of this, and I can't say the name. I had a gentleman who was German in my class yesterday, and he there's this magical animal where you have a conflated word, and I put the link in and it's Eierlegende Wollmilchsau. Yeah, yes, Wollmilchsau. It's a magical animal that has wool. It's a pig. You can get milk from it, and it lays eggs. So, just understand that doesn't exist, and you do the best you can, right?
Well, actually, me being a perfectionist, I am the eierlegende Wollmilchsau in my present path. I'm a trainer, language trainer, and a communication trainer for executives. I teach business languages. So it kind of, I do have a fixed mindset. Like it's my factory setting. I strive towards the growth mindset, but I know for myself that I have a fixed mindset. And I feel like I've got enough education, enough certificates for future lifetimes and future careers as well. So you just figured out that the stretch is not as large as it may appear for other people.
And hopefully the other Agilists on the thing agree. Communication, being able to understand and speak to executives is a critical tool in the toolkit. So the good news is you come at this with a skill that is highly valued and not my strong suit. So
I got to be the one who teaches them what to do and what not to do, more importantly.
So I'm going to finish the recording there. We can stay on and chat. I think lots of interesting questions. Thank you, Joseph and Bob, for sharing this evening. That was really interesting, and also I actually learned stuff, which is always a good sign in any human being to be open to be learning. Thank you both. Any last words from either of you?
Yeah, well, thank you, Karl, for this beautiful organization, and thank you for you, my friends. Thank you for your time, seriously, because every time you speak with someone, you grow your network, you communicate, you learn something new, and that's the most important learning in everything when you hear others. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody that showed up. and participated.
And that's a heart for everyone.
As well.
Thank you.